Howie. Let's get back to the hottest show on the planet. It is Broadcasting on the Beach with your host, Halftime Howie.
Thank you very much, Brian. And we are so excited. We are making our first journey to my hometown of Boston, Massachusetts next week for a great cause. We're going to be hosting an event from 5 to 8 p.m. from the Yawkey Center for Cancer Care at 450 Brookline Avenue in Brookline, Mass. And the person that helped me help set this wonderful event up is Katie McGurk from the Jimmy Fund. And let's say hello to Katie right now.
Hello.
Katie, how are you? Welcome to our show. Yes, we are so thrilled for the big event. We have 5 staff members making the trip to Boston next week. And Katie, for the people out there listening, tell us a little about the Jimmy Fund.
Absolutely. So Dana-Farber, the Jimmy Fund is actually just fundraising arm of the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. So it provides cancer care and research for patients and families afflicted by all forms of cancer. So the Jimmy Fund actually started, we're the official charity of the Boston Red Sox, so I know there might be some Yankee fans in the crowd and listening. But we were adopted by them about 63 years ago as the official charity. So we have several of the players that come into the hospital and visit with the patients and their families. And we also have a group of patients that visit spring training down in Florida as well, which is actually taking place next weekend. So it's just a wonderful kind of partnership, and all the funds that are raised directly benefit the research and care happening here. There's also people from all over the globe that come not only to receive treatment, but to collaborate with the scientists and the physicians. So it's a wonderful place.
Absolutely. And Katie, talk about the Yawkey Center for Cancer Care, where we're going to be having our broadcast next Sunday.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to host you guys there. So the building opened up in February of 2011, and the unique thing about the building is that it was designed by patients for patients. So they basically had a group of patients come together and talk about how can we create a building that really is comfortable, that, you know, there's a lot of people going through a lot of difficult diagnoses and, you know, a lot of waiting around for appointments and drawing blood. So everything from the walls to there's even a healing garden on the 3rd floor that I'll be showing you, where plants are donated every month with rocks that say hope in different languages and bird chirping noises. So honestly, just a place where they could retreat. There's an art gallery piece to the building. So there's art such as an original Andy Warhol piece where patients can, again, just kind of step back from what they're going through. There's even musicians that will volunteer their time to play a grand piano on the 2nd floor that kind of resonates throughout the building. And the way that it's also set up is there's several bridges that connect each of the buildings. So if you were, for example, going to the 9th floor and you had your mother being treated for breast cancer, the patients are on the 9th floor in one area and a bridge connects to the researchers. So the whole concept being from bench to bedside, you have experts in that field that are able to communicate easily with one another.
Absolutely. Katie, say hello to Joe Satriano, who's going to be one of our featured guests. And Joe runs the Susan Satriano Foundation. And I'd like for Joe to say hello to you because Joe's going to be one of our featured speakers. And
oh, that's wonderful.
And Joe has a very great story. So Joe, say hello to Katie and tell her what you're all about.
Hi, Katie. How are you?
Hi, Joe. I'm great. Great to hear from you.
Good. Listen, you know, I must preface this by telling you, yes, I am a Yankee fan, but
Okay.
but when it comes to helping families with cancer and there are no boundaries, so I commend what you're doing. I think that's a wonderful thing. My question for you is, and I'll tell you a little bit about my foundation in a bit, but my question for you is, I started my foundation out of a need because of an incident that happened in my life where I lost my wife to breast cancer after a 13-year battle. And I'm wondering, your involvement, was there any reason why you got involved with it?
That's a wonderful question. So I actually began working here as an intern. So my first job was running bone marrow donor drives. So I would go to colleges, to community events within the area, and basically set up a cheek swabbing station. So as you may know, to join the bone marrow donor registry, you just have to swipe your cheeks, and they're able to use the DNA to basically match to see if you could potentially be a bone marrow donor for a patient in need. So I loved it, but I wasn't a bio major at the time, so I kind of thought, you know, what the heck am I doing here? Where is this going to lead? Unless I go back to school for, you know, something bio-related. So I started volunteering. As you guys may know, there's a lot of events that the Jimmy Fund holds, one of which is the WEEI Next and Radio Telethon, which takes place 2 days in August at Fenway Park. So I volunteered on my own, signed up, and basically just picked up the phone and was kind of listening to people calling in. So like I said, it's broadcast from Fenway Park. We have patients and doctors come on. We even have some players come on and just kind of share their stories and why the Jimmy Fund's important to them. Or, some are now cancer-free. Others are, giving back in honor and memory of loved ones. So I was just so inspired by being there for the full day and receiving calls from people making, anywhere, sometimes a $5 gift, sometimes $3,000 gift. I even received a $10,000 gift. Just blown away by people excited to be a part of this cause. And again, hearing from patients, what really struck me was how can someone be diagnosed with something that is so awful and so terrible, and yet their experience within this organization has become such a positive one. Between, having the same nurses for all 5 years of treatment, these people become like a second family. And, everything from sandwiches given, in the lobby so that the parents don't have to worry about going out and grabbing food, things that you don't really think about. So that had me hooked. So I actually applied to the first job I saw in development, which at the time was more events related, so it was more in the back end of things. And now my current role is on the corporate partnerships team, so I do a lot with events, corporate donors, as well as some other programs that companies and schools can get involved with. So that it kind of started. I got lucky in that I started working in an amazing place, so it was just a matter of where's the best position that I can get to interact with these incredible patients and families. I mean, it's hard to want to work anywhere else when you work with such incredible people.
It's so true that just reaching out and letting people know that you know what they're going through, and that you care, and I think obviously the Jimmy Fund makes a major difference in people's lives. You guys are miles ahead of my foundation in terms of exposure. You're talking to the foundation here. Mine is the Susan Satriano Foundation, as I said, named after my wife who passed away of a 13-year battle with breast cancer. But I too help kids who unfortunately have a parent dealing with either passed away of cancer, presently battling, or in remission. I give them scholarships for their higher education, but at the same time I also go and interview each and every one of the kids before they get that. And then the interview is not to select one against the other. It's merely just to give them a chance to talk. And for many of them, it's the first time that they've actually ever said anything about it. Because we're on the same level playing field. So, so Howie has been gracious enough to make me one of the family members of the Halftime Howie program. So every week I come on and I do an inspiring story, and Lord knows I could write a book about it.
I love you should. I buy it.
Well, actually, I have written a book, so I'm going to hold you to it.
He's got Joe is going to bring his book in sickness and health. He's going to bring several copies to raffle off to raise money for the Jimmy Fund next week.
Oh, that's awesome! Wow, that's incredible. I will have to read that. Wow, that's a perfect plug.
Yeah, and we also have some books to raffle off, which is really, since we're a Long Beach radio show, we're bringing several books that kind of give the history of Long Beach. And and one of the famous things about Long Beach is our boardwalk. And if you walk on our legendary boardwalk, there's benches, memorial benches, and there's someone that wrote a story about all those memorial benches. So we're going to be raffling off a couple of those. So people in Boston will get that history of Long Beach next week as well.
I love that. That's excellent.
So Katie, we are so pumped. We are so excited to make our first journey to the Jimmy Fund. Thank you for joining us, and can't wait till next Sunday when we're with you at the Yawkey Center.
Great. Well, me both as well. Thank you so much.
All right, Katie. Thanks.
And Joe, I'm looking forward to speaking with you further. I mean, that's so inspiring just to honor your wife. I know she's looking down, incredibly proud of you and what you've accomplished, not only personally, but, with all these children that you're funding scholarships for. That's really amazing. It was a pleasure to hear a little bit more about it.
Well, thank you. Listen, we're both in the same business, aren't we? Helping people.
And that's what we're shooting for.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about. So I'm looking forward to meeting you as well.
Great. Well, have a wonderful night, gentlemen.
All right,
Look forward to seeing you next week.
All right, Katie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Katie McGurk, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be in Boston next week, and it was great that Katie gave us a real feel of the Jimmy Fund. All right, now we're going to